Hi, my name is Jamie Escalante, and this is my research presentation for the research paper that is connected to the critical assignment for the World Literature course that we are all in. The tentative title for my research paper is Vindicating Creusa. I want to talk about my motivations for choosing the topic that I did. I've decided the best way to do that is to simply enter into a short narrative that I believe adequately expresses my reasoning and my heart behind the research paper. Also, a bit of my passion, I think, will also be evident. So I'll just start. In this world literature course, we have not covered a single text written by a woman. This should disturb everyone, but it should especially produce a harrowing sense of foreboding in the hearts of the women in this class. Are women not a part of the world? One might ask. The epic literature discussed in this course, of which the Aeneid is a prototype, as it includes similarities between the Iliad and the Odyssey, reinforces the male tendency to ignore the female experience, subjugate the female experience, and also portray and present the female experience on their own male-defined terms. Thus, Aeneas emerges as a symbolic, metaphorical manifestation of male domination and the male voice, which is carried over from the Dark Ages to today. Many scholars report that Aeneas' sense of duty is what inspired his neglect of Creusa, which resulted in her being lost, his abandonment of Dido, and his sense of entitlement over Lavinia. This thinking, Aeneas demonstrates, minimizes and subjugates the female experience to that of men. The women and their experiences are, in essence, viewed as collateral damage and entirely inconsequential. It is clear that in the Aeneid, the epic belongs to Aeneas, and no one else, especially not a female. These same ideals are present in today's culture, one example being the current course, where women are forced to study and idealize the lives of men as told by men without any representation. The female is left to wonder why. Why is this? A passage from the Aeneid came to mind as I researched and considered various topics and possibilities useful in confronting the misogyny I found so prevalent in the literature selected for this course. I found that I could not find any sources about women from the time period prior to 500 AD. I thought of the women in the literature I just read. I thought of Creusa and the scene where Aeneas discovers she is missing. A voice from the past then began to haunt me. I recalled the scene where Aeneas proclaims Creusa is lost. Presumably, he wonders where she is in order to determine she is lost. Yes, I thought. Where is Creusa? Where is she? Furthermore, who is she? Aeneas is a villain. He is intent on achieving his goals at the expense of women. He is the quintessential misogynist. His tale is one of wreaking havoc on the lives of women, which results in their abandonment, suicide, and capture. Women are left behind and forgotten, literally and symbolically, in the Aeneid. The Aeneid reads like a piece of propaganda against women. The moral is, subjugate women, dehumanize women, use women as your own property and for your own purposes. You will be considered a hero. The reality of this paradigm and its popularity within today's current culture creates an opportunity for a response from both men and women. It has been over 2,000 years since this poem was written. Still, the story of Aeneas is sadly relevant. Women are still marginalized, considered inferior, and ignored in academic, professional, and private spheres. It is time for this male norm to change, and a response is necessary. Vindicate Creusa, Dido, and Lavinia. Honor women. Collaborate rather than dominate, and do not demonize our responses to injustice, mistreatment, or abuse. Create a place where women and men can live safely and happily. It is possible. My tentative intro thesis. I'll read it. The Aeneid, which is an exemplary epic tale which includes similarities to both the Odyssey and the Iliad, is in many ways an epic prototype which tells a story of male dominance and violence exhibited not only on one another, but also on the female experience. Aeneas' actions and his legacy is told through generations, and up until today, men, stands as a testimony to male preference, elevated male existence, and the subjugation of women. Aeneas, then, and what he embodies, stands in direct opposition to the female and what female existence is, in essence. Through his neglect, his indifference, and his sexist reasoning based on a morality which excludes the female, Aeneas's actions invite a response from today's female audience. A cry for vindication. I just want to discuss two sources that I have here. The first one is Goddesses, Whores, Wives, and Slaves, Women in Classical Antiquity. Now, this specific work began after the author wondered what women were doing while men were off engaging in war. The result is an in-depth study of women in antiquity. This book will help me understand the places women held in the public and private sphere, and help contextualize the Aeneid. I'm talking a lot. By elucidating what Aeneas is ultimately destroying by his harm of Creusa, Dido, and presumably Lavinia. Getting something to drink so I can continue. The second resource that I put up here for discussion is a dissertation titled Bitch That I Am, an examination of women's self-deprecation in Homer and Virgil. This dissertation focuses on the works of Homer and Virgil as they relate to the representation of women. There's a discussion of the history of women during the eras these specific authors wrote. There is also a character analysis of important female characters pertinent to my understanding of Aeneas as a metaphorical misogynist. This dissertation will contextualize women's history during the writing of Virgil and will present a glimpse of their lives and experience destroyed by villains like Aeneas. Thank you.